You've got to admit it, we've all done it. I know I've been very guilty of it. You take a photo, when you were there, the scene looked great. But when you get back, you really can't do anything with it. So you go, I know what I'll do. I'll turn it into black and white. So that's the question I'm asking you today. Is that what you do? If it is, then this video is for you. I've tried it for years and I know I was wrong. Very occasionally it has worked. But in today's video, I'm going to give you 3 lessons that will help you get around this problem. Just before I get into those 3 lessons, if you'd like somebody to give you an honest opinion about your photos, give you some feedback and some pointers as to where you should be going, then at the end of the video I'll show you how you can get a free portfolio review with me. There is a common belief that black and white is more forgiving and that it's easy to be more artistic. But let me tell you straight, if you've got a bad photo, particularly a bad composition to start with, it doesn't matter what profile you apply to it, it's never going to be great. So don't use black and white as an excuse to get yourself out of trouble. You're far better off thinking about how well a photo will look in black and white before you take it. Before you think about converting it, you're actually composing it and taking it for use in black and white. The problem is, black and white doesn't forgive bad composition. It exposes it. If you strip away colour, what remains? The main thing is tone. Then after that, it's things like shape, form, lines, texture, and of course, space. The skeleton, if you like. But if the skeleton is weak, in black and white, there is nowhere to hide. So today I'm going to share with you 3 techniques that will help. It's not a punishment. It's more of an invitation to help you get the most from your black and white photography. The first lesson, the common mistake people make is to not look at the scene carefully enough. My first instinct was to take this scene, and it's not a bad photo. What caught my eye was the pathway leading into the frame on the left-hand side here. But it doesn't really lead us anywhere other than to the clump of trees that are sort of in the middle that look rather dark. So although there's a lot of contrast between them and the background, and your eye is drawn to high contrast things, it's not really taking you anywhere, and that's why the photo falls down. Now, if I take a few steps to the left, there's these line of limestone rocks, and there's a different scene. Way in the distance, there's a puff of smoke or steam. I think actually it's steam coming from a grass drying plant. I'm also looking out more to the coast so I can pick up bits of the bay, a bit of water, a bit more contrast in the scene. So what I've been able to do here is to use the slightly lighter rocks. There's not a great deal of contrast between them and the background, and lead your eye through the scene towards that puff of smoke and the brighter bit where the light is coming in over the bay there. I was lucky enough that a person just walked into my frame as I was setting up for this shot, so I let them form part of the composition. And that's what I think makes this a more interesting shot than the previous one. So my tip is, when you're composing your photo, look at some key things. Look round your edges. Where does the land and sky meet, or the sea and sky meet? Think about the structure of your photo. Where would your eye normally land in the scene, and how are you going to lead the viewer through the scene? You know, look for those things we talked about: the skeleton, the forms, the shapes, the lines, the texture. So find those things first and then press the shutter. Second mistake I'd like to talk about is tonal separation. See, in colour, using this dry stone wall, which is actually made from limestone, would work very well as a leading line. The grey limestone is almost your camera's neutral grey, and the grass is not very green either. It's that time of year. So the two kind of blend together, and you just lose any tonal separation. So this is something you need to train your eye to see when you're in the field, because it's not something you want to fix in processing by playing with your sliders. The way to get that separation is to look for the strong contrasts. Now, the outline of the tree as I come up this path Because I'm lower than it and it's framed against the sky, I've got lovely strong tonal separation for that. And that's going to work as a black and white photo. The third lesson I wanted to talk about is negative space, because I think it plays a more important role in black and white compositions than perhaps it does in colour. In colour, you can often blur your background by using a wide aperture, and it doesn't seem to work quite the same in black and white. Let me show you what I mean. We all love those lonely tree photos, and I found an interesting looking tree here. You can see it's kind of green on one side and the leaves haven't quite formed on the other side, probably because they don't get as much light or something. I've started to think carefully about my composition. You know, I'm looking at what's going on in the edges of my frame. I'm understanding the tonal separation, you know, where the tree sits against the sky. But the one thing I haven't really thought about at this point is how much space is around the tree. And if you look at the work of people like some of the masters at black and white, especially minimalist photography, people like Michael Kenner, you'll see what I mean about how important this is. I'm going to take 2 photos of this tree and you can see the difference. So when I thought about this composition, the light is behind the tree. So I want to shoot into that light because I think it creates interest in the scene. I always like shooting into the light. I'm going to choose medium aperture just so I get all the tree sharply in focus. I'm not bothered about the background. I'm going to go low, so I get the tonal contrast against the sky, and there's my first image. Now, you know, in all honesty, it makes a great shot, but let me just move a little bit, show you another version. Now, this is my second image. I've still got the light coming straight towards me, but I've just moved, and what I've done is just opened up a bit of space around subject, and I've deliberately given it room to breathe, and I think it's that extra space that improves the quality of the photo. What I'm trying to say here is, when I chose to start working in black and white, I try to make it easier for myself. I nearly always switch my color profile on my camera to a black and white profile so that I can see straight away in the viewfinder what I'm looking at, so I can check whether I've got that tonal contrast I need. And that helps you to start asking the right questions. Where are the tones? Where's the geometry? Where's the shape? Where's the form? Where's the light falling? And where is the space I need? Because the way you look at every scene, regardless of what you're shooting, when you start to practice this a lot, you can start to see in black and white. And it'll change the way you look at every scene, regardless of what you're shooting. And that's what black and white teaches you. It's not a style, it's not a filter, it's a way of seeing. And that'll help your composition as well as your photography overall, even in colour. And it's worth far more than any preset or processing technique. So if any of this has resonated with you and you'd like somebody to look at your photos and help you figure out where you should go next or what your style is, I do offer free portfolio reviews. I try and keep them to 5 a month, so there's a link in the description. If you find a slot available, do go ahead and grab it. There's no obligation, it's completely free of charge. We'll sit down, we'll have a chat about your photos, and I'll give you some pointers as to where you should be going next. I really do enjoy those. I love to see what you've created, and I'd love to help you. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you're having fun with your camera, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.